Hello, Mr. Barfield. How are you, man?
Rocking and rolling.
That's what I'm talking about. You have a good Thanksgiving?
You know, it's for some reason I want to quote John Travolta right now, and he was like,
John Travolta. Ooh, that's heavy, brother. Go ahead.
right. Hey, I'm gonna put a level of complexity to it you can't even comprehend.
Oh, hit me with it. Hit me, baby.
It's gonna be a quote from Greece.
Oh, from Greece. Now, see, now, I've never watched Greece. I mean, you know, I'm not sure what kind of childhood you had to live Greece, but I know the quotes, but hit me with it. Go ahead. I may have to go after you. What the hell you saying, but I'll listen. We ain't that old, Brad. Come on, man. What are you trying to say? Spit it out, brother.
Well, the quote is, I use it all the time. But now you're gonna go, wait, what? But this is a quote from the carnival scene. So, like, you know, these people come up that are cool and ask the cool dude what he's been up to.
Right.
And I think that was the question we were talking about. I really can't remember right now. But John Travolta says...
Well, you were the one quoting him, so go ahead, please.
He says, it's like, you know, in this very, you know, charming kind of way, you know, he's sitting there and he goes...
John Travolta's charming. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So he said, but wait a second, though, you know, he is, in the 70s, you know, like, that was cool. That was fine level bullshit, you know what I'm saying?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, come on. You know, the Grease thing, you know, I've dated some women. You know, I was married to a couple that were Grease fans. And, you know, I just never understood the, you know, the fascination with that level of it. You know, the Saturday Night Fever, the cowboy, the urban cowboy and stuff with Dolly Parton and stuff. Hey, the man was a good actor, but at the same time, geez, it was only later he actually got great. But
oh yeah,
the time period you're talking about with Grease, I mean, come on, that was the classic. Ooh, Easy Rider, and I'm like,
yeah,
can y'all be more dang stereotypical? You know, the little girls in the poodle skirts and stuff, and it's like,
I couldn't get it either. I couldn't get it either until...
you know, I don't get it.
You've got to watch it, just like you've got to watch the dude first. You know, you've got to watch the Big Lebowski. And
the Big Lebowski, yes, sir.
And then that same weekend, maybe the next night, maybe the same night, depending on what your schedule looks like, to watch Grease. And, man, but you got to put yourself in the mind. But we hadn't talked about the quotes yet. This is, which is good because I want to drag it out as long as I can. I heard old Jim Morrison, you know, the lead singer of The Doors, he would insert into his shows something that he would call the pregnant pause. And sometimes... Go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing with you. I understand the pregnant pause. They say something, you're waiting for the expected response, and then suddenly it's not what you expect. Yes, and it's so awesome.
Well, it's like this. It's like it's kind of like going close to the point of orgasm and then stopping before anything bad happens. So you're stopping there, and everybody's going, come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Just a little bit longer.
There you go. There's that control of a good lover. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know any of that stuff, but yes, please continue. You get me turned on, brother. God, what are you trying to say?
I know. But
I understand what you mean. You know, you get to that thing. I mean, you get that classic thing of, you know, the Grease stuff. Yes, I mean, you know, it's kind of one of those things, and it's like, I gotta hold it. I gotta hold it. And you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna. Oops. Hey, why do you think it's so hard to get blood? Some things these days. Yeah, let's keep it clean.
Yeah, you gotta keep it clean. A little bit clearer than that. But no, it would be a bummer to do that. So the lady, I think it's her. I don't know, man. She is dressed up. Olivia Newton-John, who just recently passed away. Man, she was hot. And then a couple years later, she started going, let's get physical. I'm like, okay, baby. Yeah. I'm like, nine.
Well, but now,
yeah.
But now, this goes back to something that you and I have both discussed before. Now, this is going to kind of go a little tiny bit deeper. You look at, you're talking about grief. Hey, that's a classic. It's kind of like lipstick. It's kind of like Rent. It's kind of like Cats. I mean, it's all these things that are part of our society that, they say that, look, if you're a established person, you know these things. Well, Little Dude John and stuff, they kind of touched on, the primal part of men, women, and, I'm sorry. If you go back to the 50s, all those women and stuff, when their men was gone to war, they were just a bit whorish and screwing around and stuff, but they're all downing people. It's a repeat of nature in every day. When something's missing, it gets filled by something else. And then when you fill that up, it's just not always by society's norm. So you take Grease, Rent, and all those kind of things. The Urban Cowboy, I watched it then, and I thought, this crap is, oh my gosh, this is crazy. But now I kind of see it, in terms of, there was some exploration there. It's that looking outside of the box. Whereas, if everyday people need to basically check their status. If you accept the everyday norms, then maybe you're not living. Maybe check your assumption for something outside the box. Whereas exactly what you're talking about, the want that young men had for Olivia Newton-John, Bo Derek,
Sarah.
There was a fundamental thing that someone understood then.
Sarah Fawcett.
Yes, there was a fundamental understanding during that time of psychology of how men interact with women, and it's gotten lost. You have some folks go say, girl, you need to eat 27 sandwiches. And then you got the other ones that go, I love your curls, but not your curves. There's so much of that shallowness, but during the time of the Urban Cowboy and, with John Travolta, Welcome Back Kotter and stuff. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Different. Let me just tell you another perspective on it, man.
So go ahead, please.
Another perspective is the music. Of course, some of the Urban Cowboy was Mickey Gilley and all the stuff in Grease is, Kid just checked in with us. But let me say this. So, let me go back to the quote because we're going to switch over to Kid. We're going to join him in.
Yes, please. Let's get him in here.
The quote was, rocking and rolling and whatnot.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
That's a deep conversation that I hear.
It really is.
Very shallow. I mean, it's very shallow.
It's shallow, but it's also a very deep thing because people think it's shallow, but there is some deep conceptions involved with it because of exactly what you're talking about. The dance moves, the movement of the body versus the sound you hear, the sounds versus the movement. You've loved music forever. I've been one of those, I like music, but I listen to the beats. I don't listen to the words. So, hey, we're going to bring Kid in?
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now. I'll be right back.
All right, let's go right ahead.
Oh, see, so tell us what that means, kid. You're talking another language now. We in South Arkansas, boy. You got to speak English down here.
That's speaking that English. Just means
we can
hello,
talk
brother.
some English, but okay, so what?
You missed that part. You missed that part. Our friend here, Kid Check the Rhyme, who a lot of people know, and Sleuth definitely knows. He stopped by and said hello to him the other day, which was very cool.
Hey, Kid Check.
Kid Check.
What's going on, dog?
Hey, he's a Cherokee, man. This guy's, he's probably one of the most interesting people I've happened across in a long time. But I'm gonna let y'all guys.
Oh, he's a soul brother. He actually understands what we talk about. Yay, I'm all for it, man. Come on, let's go. So what are we going to talk about tonight, gentlemen?
What you got on the plate for us tonight, Brad?
Well, I mean, we have lots of things on the plate tonight. Of course, we and really what it is that we've been carrying on what we call a back channel. Of course, what it means is we've just been kind of chatting it up, talking shit. Man, we talked about all kinds of things for the past.
Come on, Brad. Bullshit. We talk bullshit.
This is some deep shit. Hey, man, today, it's like, what we decided, or what I decided to do was call this the men's variety show. Because we don't really talk about the shit that men talk about. People always talk about what they think men talk about, specifically women. But we talk about, drugs. We talk about
men are not that deep. Yeah, you're right.
No.
Go ahead.
But, the thing of it is that we've all learned this thing is that, one of our conversations today, man, we just circled around, and we figured out that alcohol was bad for most people. But that we have figured out other things out there now that help us that are still fun. You can still kind of have your, I don't know, it's kind of like your fix.
You can be an adult and decide your own thresholds. Is that what you're trying to say,
Yeah,
Brad?
That's exactly it, man. And that's it. And it's been opened up to us some lately. It's not just, well, I got to go drink a fifth of goddamn something or the other right there and beat something, So, I mean, there's a lot of other things out there. And our friend Kid here, he's been out there. Do you want to talk about what you do or what you've done for a little bit, Kid, or what do you think?
Yeah, sure, man. Yeah, definitely, man. I own a cannabis company, and, we grow and process cannabis. I've been doing it for probably about 12 years now, legally. I did it in Colorado first. When they legalized, went up there. And then once Oklahoma legalized, moved back and started the company here and looking to, because I've started one and sold one already. And then I ended up picking up another one that was on discount that they didn't know what they were doing, kind of turned it around, got it all set up right. And hopefully we're looking to sell it too, man. I'm just gonna kick it, bro. I'm getting older and I'm just ready to just chill. I'm so tired of chasing the dollar bill, and finally being to that position where I won't have to chase the dollar bill anymore, and maybe get a little early retirement and find out what is the true meaning of life with the last years that I do have.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and that's a good thing. But now, let me ask you just a little thing now. You're in Oklahoma, so are you on the Indian Nation? I mean, is there differences between, I have a medical card here in Arkansas. I go to Bentonville regularly. There's a grow center here in Arkansas. It's called the Relief Center. And I think if you buy the house bud, it's about $140. In Oklahoma, I know they actually, let people come over there from Arkansas, but it's not recreational, it's still medical. And there's like a surcharge. Now, Missouri has a new thing. So now how has that affected you? I mean, with what you're doing in Oklahoma? Because I just don't understand all those interactions there,
Here it's still Wild West, though. Oklahoma, compared to Colorado, Colorado it's a more structured industry as to where there's a baseline and that it's structured. It's really structured. So I mean, there's not a lot of deviations from it. The market stays pretty strong, and it's a pretty regular market. They've been able to keep the market regular. Oklahoma's kind of followed like what Oregon has done. They just opened it up, wild west. I mean, it's created, a surplus, so of course the price is going to drop. There's hardly any structure, so anybody that works in the industry, it's not a licensed industry, so anybody can technically work in the industry as long as you're, I think it's 21 and up. They may have dropped it down to 18 now, I'm not sure.
Right, but
I believe it's
your
21 and up. As to where in Colorado they're going to fingerprint you, they're going to run a background check on you. And if you're a child predator or if you're a violent offender or something like that, you're not going to be able to work in this industry. If you have possession, and if you have, go ahead, bro.
So I apologize. I mean, it's one of those responsibility things. I mean, yes, I mean, if you're going to be responsible for it, you should be able to enjoy it. Your opinion?
Absolutely. But I also, and I'm not a big government control kind of guy, to be honest with you, but you have to have some kind of baseline to run from, because what we run into here is legally is, say I invest $1 million into a grow. I'm a local person, okay? At the front end of this, they were bringing in products from out of state, could outcompete with you because they're established out of state and they could undercut you. So it's not fair for the local market here. They left it wide open, and it kind of, I don't know, everybody just ran here, set up a farm, and now they've changed it to where they're trying to get it better as far as that. But for the first 3 or 4 years, it was wide open, and
right.
And it's been good as far as a small person being able to start their own company, get into it. It's much more affordable here. I think Colorado, the rec side, I think it was $50,000 just for the application fee for the rec side of it. As to where here the medical side, I think is $2,500 per license. They've shut that off now. No new licenses because of the problem they've been having. And I mean, we just literally had like a quadruple murder at one of the grow farms here. And they're all from Chinese descent. They're all Chinese descent. So as you know, man, nobody's checking even immigration papers. Nobody's checking if they're even residents of Oklahoma. They actually discovered that there's a lawyer firm that is literally the front group for a lot of people's licensing. And, so it's been kind of a mess here, honestly, to be real with you.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's just the hands-off approach. It's almost like they're giving enough rope for everybody to hang themselves is what it seems like.
Yes, sir, I agree with that. And I guess what I was going to say, do you think this is beneficial? I mean, should we promote less regulation? Or should we, do a few of those things and that thing? Because, there's a lot of that's going on, but maybe not everybody's seeing things.
Here's my
Brad, what do you think?
Man.
There you go.
If I know the rules of the game, I can play it and win. But if I don't know the rules of the game, or if there aren't any, I can't win. So I'm gonna get out of that. I'm gonna get out of that fight. Is what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you were talking about that thing with the Oklahoma thing and everything, but if they could actually come to a consensus, would it help?
Need some rules. Is that right, Kit?
Yeah, they definitely are. Well, they're finally starting to actually come around, and COVID. I guess they blamed a lot of it on COVID, them not getting together and whatnot. There's been several hang-ups as far as, and then there's been, voting initiatives to, there's been struggles as far as that, who's going to make the rules, and it's been a nightmare, really. And it's amazing because so many states have legalized it before they did here. They could have easily went to other states that have established systems of tracking it. Because what we want is safe access, right? We want safe, clean drugs, correct? That's the whole point of legalizing it, right?
Responsible. Yeah, we want safe, clean, responsible administration of the medicine, or excuse me, sorry.
Right, and then they found out, and when they first started,
you got to find that happy medium. Sorry. Yes.
Right, and just like in the food industry, there's a 2 or 3% threshold of rat poop and rats and stuff that are going to fall into food, and there's a small threshold of that. That's just part of production. That's how the sausage is made. I understand that.
Yes,
But
sir.
when you don't monitor, when you don't have a basic monitoring of the system like they didn't have here, the testing, you're able to pay off your tester. So you could literally take a contaminated sample, pay the tester an extra fee, and he would say that no, that no longer has arsenic in it. It no longer has
Right.
E. coli, and now you are
Yes,
good
sir.
to go to put it on the market to give it to these medical patients. All in
Thank
itself
you
is kind of
for
ridiculous
saying
to me. Having a medical card to go get something to smoke just to me is just ridiculous. Why can't we just say, hey man, I want to get a buzz and I want to smoke something reefer?
Yeah.
Yes,
and,
sir.
hey,
Thank
you're
you
right.
for saying that. Thank you
the
so
spirit-
much for saying that.
It's silly here. We're all lying to each other here in Oklahoma because it is the Bible Belt, and there is a stigma with it here, and it's hilarious. Especially coming from Colorado, because even people that don't smoke in Colorado, they want it legal. They want the tax revenue from it. They understand that. They understand the safe access aspect of it. They understand the taxation of it. And they get it, and they use the revenue, and they show the people where they use the revenue. They're giving out scholarships and stuff off of county. Here they're not. They're not telling us or anything. It's just basically going into a slush fund, and they were doing absolutely nothing on the front end to help the industry out. You've got to have an enforcement side of it. You've got to stop these hundreds of pounds coming from California that we're competing with.
You've got to have that little bit of oversight. Because the biggest thing that I think a lot of we miss is, capitalism based on you capitalize, thus the term capitalism, on, shortages. I can make money here. And so a lot of that stuff happens. And, while that nation and stuff that does that stuff, yeah, you're absolutely right. You got to kind of take it a little at a time, right?
Well, here's. I think that Kid put out a very important thing, at least as far as I'm concerned, and that's safe access.
Made several very important statements.
Well, safe access is very important, and because people are going to do stuff. That's just the reality. People have been smoking cannabis for more years than they hadn't, probably, and we could get into it deeper. But now, kids. This is a very dynamic industry. There's a lot of states that haven't legalized, or even, they may have medical and they may have other things, but there's more than that going on out there right now, man. It's not just growing a plant. You're not just doing that. There's a lot of stuff going on with processing. You mentioned that, part of your business that you may have for sale, and if you're anybody interested, they can get a hold of you, I'm sure, but part of that is growing and processing. How much? What is it like a small farmer? How much do you grow, and what does processing mean, and all that? Tell us just what the industry looks like from everyday living in it out there, and just spread us a little knowledge about that industry right now, where you're at.
Where I'm at, I've pretty much got it about 80% automated system as far as the feeding system goes and all that. So I had each firing space is about 5,000 square feet. We harvest typically around 15 to 20 pounds of dry material once it's dried per week. You're talking it's probably 120, 130 wet. So once it dries out, it's it just depends on different strains. Give you just a little bit different harvest as far as that goes. All of our employees are employees. They're not 1099. It's an actual job. Hopefully it'll, turn into a career for them, and the people that we end up selling to will treat it the same way. Here it's hard to get that type of setup. It's 1099. Like I said, there's no oversight. So I can set up a contract.
You're making me sad.
I know. Anytime you add money to anything, it kind of bastardizes it. You know what I mean? It just bastardizes it.
I am not I'm not discounting what you're saying. Dude, that is sad that there's that much bureaucracy with something that is, geez. I'm so sorry. You know, that's crazy that y'all are actually, I'm sorry, I say y'all. But that's nuts. Everything you was just explaining just epitomizes everything that is wrong with the things that we're talking about. Is what the heck? It's land. Grow it. So please,
And it literally,
go ahead. I just need
and
to
you can grow it,
interject
and
that.
that's the problem with it. That's nobody's really being honest about, because the price of it and all
No
that.
one's
It's like you
being
said, it's
honest.
not. Everybody said on the front end, I remember before legalization, everybody said, hey, we'll legalize it, make everything honest, safe, affordable. But look at it, man. You can go get the pharmaceutical industry can produce any drug that they have
Yes,
for a lot
sir.
cheaper than what you could literally medicate yourself with cannabis for. And that was kind of the whole intent of legalizing cannabis, was to bring the price down to the actual price, to get safe access, affordable access.
And
That's
give
part of
the
access,
folks
is being
that,
able to afford it.
yeah, and my biggest thing is giving affordable access to the folks who believe that this herb, devil's lettuce, will help them. And then you go back to the mushrooms and stuff. I mean, hey, look, anything that gives you a mind-opening epiphany is worth it. If you're not
Well, the
going
good
to do
thing,
it, then go ahead. Sorry, yeah.
yeah, the good thing, the cannabis, it's too late. It's already gone. What you mentioned about the mushroom, you see that starting to come across the country more and more. I'm Native as well, and I think it was Obama that signed it in to where, if you're a part of a Native American church, you can partake in psilocybin mushrooms. But you see that the next thing coming in, that looks more promising. That looks more promising from the aspect of watching an industry go from real tight-knit group of people. When it was illegal, it was a real tight-knit group of people. It was a real, it was organized. It was a structure to it.
Yes, sir. I mean, it goes back to, there's this little subculture. I mean, it goes back to the 70s and the hippies. You had a subculture that could understand the benefit. And then you get the older group that's like, y'all just a bunch of wild kids. So when you actually combine those together and say, well, you're not wrong, but you're not right, you find that middle ground. How do you see that?
Everybody's on their own journey to find their own truth. How they go about finding it's none of my damn business, is how I see it, honestly.
Oh, yes, thank you.
And if I see you wandering out in the field, with cow shit hanging out of your mouth, I'm going to put a blanket on you and say, you need some help, brother. Other than that, I just I don't see how it is that we can tell other people how they could find their truth and how they can't. That's kind of the problem.
Right. If you enjoy cow shit hanging out your mouth, who am I to say that's wrong?
Well, it's back to that. As long as you're not, as long as you're not pinching my pocket or breaking my leg, we're good with it, man. You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. And from what I understand is like, this was supposed to be something in my mind was like, aspirin or like ibuprofen or alcohol, whatever. So like, it should have been, in my mind, it should have been to that level. Okay. Because I don't think that, I mean, there may be some studies now saying that marijuana is bad for you, but I mean, I have smoked marijuana since I was 16, 17 years old, and really heavily for the past 10 or 15 years. And I say heavily for me means like taking 3 or 4 hits in the morning and 3 or 4 hits at night, maybe one here and there in a day, maybe a gummy or something like that. But I'm not talking about like wild usage, and I think that part of the problem that with legalizing it is that we don't have proper testing to make sure that, to see where people are at. I don't even know if you can even measure it inside of a person. I mean, let's just kind of divert off here to this THCA and O and CBD.
Right,
and
but at the same time, we we have the problem of you have, if you're 18 to 21, you can drink the most detrimental thing, alcohol.
Yeah. But there's a lot of other stuff that's available to people, and it looks like there's ways to get it's there's always what we consider legal and illegal, and we can discuss the morality of that forever. But what is the difference between, say, CBD and THC or THCO? I mean, what is the actual or A? I mean, what is all this talk? I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with cannabinoids, and it's not just pot. But now I'm going to tell you, if you got the whole full package of a good pot, a good cannabis, it has the smell and the all that stuff kind of goes along. But the field's bigger than that now, kid. What do you think? Is it when you say process? I'm trying to fall back to that again. Is that kind of the direction of cannabinoids? I know that it's probably getting the legal part set up better with the shrooms and the psychedelics, but with pot, this is a good stuff. I don't think we should leave that just yet. I mean, where is this industry headed? I mean, are we going to be able to? Is it bad for our health to smoke it? Is it all headed towards some kind of a process situation, or what's going to happen with cannabis?
On the processing side, they've come leaps and bounds with science, man, with studying the different receptors, the different cannabinoids, what they do, how many there are, the different combinations of them.
CBD versus THC.
Right. The THCA, of course, is just, typically what's in the plant itself. Then, of course, you have to decarboxylize it, burn it, get it up. Typically heat's how you're going to do it. You can also do it with light, too, with the UV lights. Also do it as well. But the best transfer would be to burn it. You know what I mean? Like smoking it would be vaping it, smoking it, something like that. The CBDs and all that, it just all depends on, your brain. You have so many receptors, man, and you have them all the way from your cerebral cortex. I mean, everywhere in your brain, it's just a giant different receptors. And all those different cannabinoids bind to different receptors, and that gives you different effects. And they're still studying it, man. They really don't know.
Versus THC actually reverses. I mean, there's actually been, evidence that THC contradicts CBD. CBD contradicts THC. It's what makes you high.
It's the yin and the yang. It's the duality. Yeah, it's literally the duality for THC. Yeah, if you ever experience, you think you smoke too much, or typically edibles, grab you some CBD, and typically that helps mellow it out to where you can ride the wave, and you know what I mean, take it onto the house. But yeah, man, it's crazy how many different things they've come up with those cannabinoid receptors and all that, and it's basically, just depending on what you want. Like with the THCA now, we basically pull diamonds out of it, and it's just the purest form of THC that you can get, and it's a crystalline.
Oh, yes, sure, Carl.
Okay.
Yes.
The more information they get,
you go. The
more information they get as far as the terpenes goes. We also can pull terpenes out of cannabis, and, we have a machine that'll literally separate a whole list of different terpenes as well. It'll identify them, separate them as well.
Lemon,
so then effectively what you can get. Exactly. So if you need something that's going to be an appetite suppressant or a mood enhancer, you can literally put your own tea together by using the different terpenes that have already been pre-separated. As to a preloaded one would be a strain, like a Gorilla Glue. Okay, it's going to do this, but it also has this. It also has this, this side effect. Well, man, I want to feel pain relief, but I don't want to be stuck on the couch. You see what I'm saying? Then you'd be able to find a better fit using the actual different terpenes in THCA through the concentrate.
Funky Charms. Look up Funky Charms.
And that's more the new age stuff, man.
My man here, he loves Funky Charms. The THC and terpenes of Funky Charms. Look that up. There's the lemontines, the terpenes, all those little flavors.
Yeah.
Brad loves Funky Charms.
They're like the one little tooth on a key.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
You have the
sir.
THC levels, your CBD levels, your terpenes, what type of terpenes. You know, they're all just different little notches on your key that turn a gate, and you just got to find that right
And
key
it
that
will
turns, you
open
know, and
your
everybody's
gate.
lock is a little bit different,
There
and you
you
just
go.
got to
You
kind of
got to find
experiment.
that. Oh,
Well,
geez,
I
man,
got a
you are
question.
talking my language.
I got a question.
Sorry.
On the open
Go
on
ahead.
the open market. What is terpenes? Now, whenever you say extract that, is it still a THC product? I mean, is it a Delta 9 product, or what is it? Could you sell it in a state that's not recreational or medical? What does that
Actually,
stand?
you can't. If it comes from the cannabis plant, because of the technicality of it, you can't sell it alone right now because of how they have the laws written. So they're trying to get that figured out and changed because it has to have some THC in it. And typically what they'll do is you'll add some THC to it, a low percentage of it, past the threshold. I think it's like 0.2% or something like that. 0.2 to 2%. I can't remember what the laws are. I think Oklahoma was 0.5%. I'm not sure. And then you could sell it as a cannabis product. Other than that, it'd be a non-cannabis product, and then you'd have to open up a different store, not a dispensary, to sell that. It'd be under a different. It'd just be a whole mess trying to take something from a legalized track through a tracking system. You know what I mean? You
You're
can't just
robbing
sell it to
Peter
a
to pay
non-licensed
Paul.
company. You can't. There's just no way to do that right now. So there are
You're
different
robbing
terpenes. They have
Peter
plant
to pay
terpenes.
Paul.
You know, and yeah, and the plant terpenes are like your more generic version of them. Yeah, as to where your cannabis terpenes that come from cannabis are the more pure form of it. Like you said, they have the better flavor. They actually have, I think they have the better medicinal value, but they say it's all the same, but I don't know. Synthetically made or made by nature, I'm going to pick nature.
Yeah, for sure. Now, let me ask you this question here. Now, I've noticed that various types of strains, and you mentioned a couple there, and Donald's talked about one there or two, but it seems to
Rick
be...
Stefano.
No,
Rick
it seems,
Stefano.
let's go to that in just a second, but there seems to be some kind of a coordination or some kind of there's something that goes on with proportion of like CBD to THC. And CBD is what I hear so many people trying and using because it's not really, it's like a cannabinoid. You know that you're taking a cannabinoid, but it's not like you're not just so messed up that you don't know what you're talking. I don't know how to describe it, but what about the proportion that you see between cannabinoids? I mean, is there... It's like in particular CBD, THC, and even if you're going to even a THC dominant, is there some kind of a proportion of CBD you want in that, or do you want no CBD in your THC, or do you want? I mean, what kind of a proportions are available, or is there, or is trying to be achieved? Is there anything to that, or is that just nothing?
I mean,
let me
there is.
interject this just real quick. Sorry, we had that discussion about the THCA, how it had to be decarbed and stuff. I think that's what Brad's referring to. Is it, Brad?
I was just going to let him answer the question I asked about that, about the proportion of CBD to THC in most accounts. I mean, is it, because you see there's...
Okay.
Hello?
Hello. I feel like I'm on Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
cannabis for
I
$1,000,
think
Alex.
what he's asking is, what is that combination y'all had? Please.
Typically, man, that you see like in grown cannabis, man, and different strains are different, but you'll typically see if it's a high THC, you'll see a low CBD. If it's a high CBD, you'll see a low THC or almost a non-existent THC. And they've kind of bred it that way because the way the hemp market rules go is that, say, if you have a hemp license, you grow industrial hemp, it can't test above, depending, I can't remember what it is, man. I have a buddy that's in that market. He came up with that.
Oh, yeah.
Charlotte's Web. the CBD
Charlotte's
strain in
Web,
Colorado.
Kill Wilbur. There you go, Kill Wilbur.
And he still does it up there. I'll give him a holler and see exactly what the percentage is. But if it tests above that, then you have to destroy it because it's cannabis and it's not hemp.
There you
And
go.
they grow
I mean,
CBD is worth
you
more
are
money per
growing-
gram than THC weed is worth. So if you were
okay.
yeah, because you can sell CBD in 50 states, I think, now, as to where cannabis, you can only sell it in the state that you grew it in. You can't take it across state lines. There's so many more regulations to it. And like I said, they're growing 25% CBD now, as to where at the beginning of it, man, they started out to where they were having problems getting 8, 9% CBD. And then THC was showing up at 4 and 5%, which you can't do. You got to literally destroy the plant. So literally you've wasted all that time, money, and everything. So now they've finally been able to breed it down to where they have different strains that are just CBD with almost no THC or very, very minimal THC.
Right.
And the cannabis side, on the cannabis side, man, typically you'll see like on your high-end top shelf, you'll see like a 30% THC, and it can range. The most I've seen with a 30% THC was like a 4 or 5% CBD.
Jesus, God bless, dude. Where have you found a 30% THC?
And a lot of it
Holy
too is
God!
The THC. Oh man, there's been
the last strain I saw had was 26%, and it was called a Rainmaker. God, the combination of the CBD, the THC 9, 10, and now they have actually found that, the THC 8 was, more synthesized.
Typically you'll see the CBD at, 1%. And then a lot of it too, man, the CBD is depending on the testing place too, what they're counting is cannabinoids too. So some of them break it down even further and not count some cannabinoids.
That's what I loved about it is, you could have a certain type of weed, and this beats these things, but the cannabinoids and the extras actually made it better, which is where earlier today we was talking about homegrown. I'm sorry, the best of the flower, the actual herb that helps you, is actually grown in the ground, the earth, not hydroponically, not from one of those things. And I think Brad was trying to lead us to some of this thing of, the earth actually connects us all together. And I think weed is a great medicine, and I think it's a great mind adjuster. Me and he have talked about mushrooms 2 or 3 times, that mind-opening moment of the adjustment to see that everything's connected. Well, I think some of that weed thing that actually helps people actually comes from the earth and those tiny little trace elements that only comes from the ground. You can't grow it and replicate it because it's a man-made thing. You need the natural order of whatever it is we live in. I mean, pick at reality and, that kind of thing. And it makes it different for you when you get it. So now how does that coincide with some of the, the Indian tribe things? And, I know me, you, and Brad, we've discussed things from, the Choctaws, and my poor buddy, he's so about the Indian mounds down here in southern Louisiana. How does any of that connect with, I guess, those things?
I mean, as far as you saying, growing in the ground is better, whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just to me, it's preference. I prefer outdoor, sun-grown, but that's, just a preference of mine. I will say this, though. The sheer volume of cannabis that is being grown outside and that is contaminating nature because of poor stewardess, because of poor regulations, because of no government oversight is shocking. So you have to look at it. You know, we're thinking of on a micro scale.
Yes, sir.
Look at it on the commercial scale as well. As far as, you know, if I'm glad a lot of people grow inside hydroponically, grow mediums. It's a less effect on the environment rather than growing outdoor. But it's a preference deal. When it really comes down to it, it's a preference deal. And the biggest deal, the one I relate it to is there's a snoring desert frog, right? They've been squeezing that frog since the 60s to get DMT from it so they could dry it out and smoke it, right?
Look at that poor little asshole's frog.
So literally they're driving out into the desert and creating detriment to their living environment. They're running over the frogs. They're fucking up their breeding time, right? So they're doing they're creating unintended consequences of them going out and chasing this frog to get high with. Well, when you can go into a laboratory and synthesize DMT and come up with the same chemical, and some people will say, no, it's not the same high because one comes from nature, from the frog, and the other one comes from your flask. Your mind cannot tell the difference between the chemical DMT that comes from that frog or the one that comes from your mind. So we all want to say, yeah, we want to get in touch with nature, and that's our link to nature. But, I mean, the sheer volume of it, man, and the scale that's going on today, I'm glad people grow indoors, honestly, and use hydroponic
I
and drip systems because, you know, we figured it out. They figured out how to use less amount of water to create less waste and how to be better stewards of the resources we have.
I think
and a lot of people that, you know, when you do nature, you can literally just plant it and forget it. So you get a lot of lazy people, and then they're like, fuck it, I can just dump nutrients in there. You know, they don't understand that there's, you know, buildup of nutrients that create soils that go acidic and alkaline. You know what I mean?
Right.
Literally, phosphorus is the number one cause of melanoma cancer. They don't understand that literally you put somebody out there working in that field tilling up that soil every year that you just keep dumping nutrients into. You're poisoning the soil, the people in the soil.
Yeah, because you're not actually working with nature. I mean, you know, because nature does not want a overabundance of any single thing.
Hey,
it's got to be that.
Let me throw
Go
this
ahead,
in real
Brad.
quick. That's exactly the point, is that human beings now are infesting the planet almost. But now, you mentioned about those internal growth systems. You're talking about, you know, using a lot of electricity, but now, excuse me, I'm so sorry, how does solar play into it?
Solar's hard, man, as far as, because, I mean, there's such a power consumption. The LED game has changed the power consumption more than anything, man, because before you were using high-pressure sodium, so not only was it pulling a high electricity just running the light, just because of how the light ballast works, how it, you know, just how it lights
the
and
high-pressure
everything.
sodium versus the metal halides. I mean, I love the metal halides. I mean, because they actually solve a lot of higher pressure sodium problems. I'm sorry.
See, and even the metal halides, but even the metal halides are, you know, they consume much more power than your LEDs. And now with technology, they figured these LEDs out in fluorescence as well, to where these bulbs are consuming less power, and also they're not creating heat in the process of putting out light. So you don't have to mitigate temperatures as much anymore. I swear, like one high-pressure sodium, 1,000 water, bro, I can't remember the BTUs that it puts off, but literally you have to calculate it like a heater, because the heat that's coming off of that light is calculatable to, I mean, it's literally like a heater in BTUs. With the LED, you don't have that. So you don't have to have 80 tons of air conditioning unit to run a grow space anymore. Now all you need is a little 10-ton, a 5-ton unit. So that saves a ton of money on electricity right there. Not just the heat mitigation alone, switching from high-pressure sodium and metal halide to fluorescent and to LED.
And it's less harmful.
Yeah, the high-pressure sodium. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Brad.
Well, I'm just saying it's less, you know, climate is, you know, one of the things that, that sounds a lot less abusive on the or on our natural resources. But one of the things that we talked about a little bit ago was, you know, with hunting, and all of us are in the age group where we were probably hunting in the 80s, maybe even the 70s. I was. But anyway, so been out in the woods, And of course, if you look back then, that 77 was a whole lot colder year than what 2017 was. And we've been kind of seeing a warming trend out there. Farming, that is something. If you've been involved in that, and you're talking about the things you're talking about there, specifically with the indoor growing and, and controlling diseases and impacts on the climate and the environment. I've always just thought of things being in kind of a circle, where, the planet has always gone through
the circle of life. Are we doing the Lion King? I agree with you, Brad.
No,
actually
a weem away, a weem away, a weem away.
A weem away, hey, the circle of life is true.
Hey, let me finish my fucking point, okay? What is
I'm sorry.
Is there a man? Don't take it personally. I'm just saying, But now, is it man or is it just a natural circle? What's going on with that thing? I want to know, as a Native American, as both of y'all, as whoever you are, kid, take it out. Tell us. Is it climate? Are we doing this shit? Why are we trying to lighten the load on the environment like you're talking about there? Did we do it? Are we having a part in it? We talked about good and evil being 50-51 or 49-51. What is man doing to the climate?
Oh, it's definitely man's impacting the earth as far as the climate. I mean, it's a ball flying through space, man. I mean, probably the reason for it, I don't know, but as long as we have intelligence, we should probably use it. Is how I just look at it. I just look at it simple as that. I mean, your grandfather got to fish the streams. You got to fish the streams. Your grandkids should fish the streams too, right? We keep turning our back to nature and doing these dirty deeds, man. Your kids, it's going to be like China. There's not going to be any fish in those streams. It's going to be toxic. Not going to be much future then.
Done dirt cheap. ACDC. I'm sorry.
And they are. It's all done, for a lot of it, is driven by profits. You know what I mean? It's sad to see that, man. But a lot of people, the same way with, in this industry, man, you'll see people buy off testing places because they can't take a loss. They just won't take a loss. It's a capitalism deal.
But now, to Donald's point, which should probably be more fun for people. They probably enjoy it. But I think that in some ways, there's a lot of serious shit that goes on out there. I mean, from what I'm hearing from you, and I may be wrong, but you need certain rules in the industry to ever make it legitimate. And but of course, you got to have the right kind of rules that propagate business. And it's small business especially. It sounds like it's hell to be in the cannabis industry if you're a small business in some ways, or it's going to be like everything else. What to make you not want to sell? What would have to happen? I mean, you mentioned a few things there, but what would you? And maybe that's the wrong question. I don't want to act like it's bad because it's probably a good thing. It's just that what would you like to see happen to make you want to stay in the industry? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
A more structured approach to it. Work with these companies. I mean, I know nothing comes overnight, and there are a lot of smaller companies here, which is awesome. I mean, that's the workhorse. That's what employs most people. They need to have some kind of licensing. We're a right-to-work state, so a union's not necessarily, but it needs to be licensed to some degree, so we know who is working in the industry. You don't have some kind of creeper that's, a manager of a grow, and he's, hitting on and taking advantage of people that are getting into the cannabis industry, because a lot of the times they're younger people, they're drug addicts typically, and they get taken advantage of. That'd be the first thing, man, is having it licensed, where let's educate people about the product that we're making, okay? Let's license it, charge a fee for it, and that way it can self-propagate itself for the future, getting people educated on contaminations, on, just the industry, just like you would any other industry. And that would also ensure that maybe you would sustain the workforce as well, not just have a high turnover rate towards a job. Maybe you can actually even maybe work it to where maybe it can be a career for some people.
Yeah,
That'd be the first thing.
absolutely. With
The
you.
second thing would
Go
be
ahead.
the taxation, as far as where the taxation money is going, and who's being honest about the tax money. Because that's a huge thing. I mean, there's millions and millions of dollars being generated, but yet our schools are still failing. There's every county, every county could do something different if people know what's going on with it. That's a big thing. And then the last thing would be just having support from the lawmakers and just not being left out into the wind. And then the last one, they're starting to come around on more and more and more. So they have a little committee now and whatnot. But as far as me staying, man, I don't know. Like I said, I'm ready to just kick it, bro.
Well,
I've worked my whole life. I've worked since I was 12 years old, man, and yeah, I'm just ready to raise some hell with the kids.
Folks that are with
you. Wait for some grandkids, bro. I want to be there raising hell with my grandkids from day one, just giving it back to my kids. You know what I mean?
I turn around here,
grilled and raw.
I turn around here, and my grandkids down here, and I took some old school construction paper and I cut up these things, and I was like, I'm going to show y'all how to make construction paper chains. The old construction paper, you clip them together and just make chains. I let my grandkids see it. We did that stuff. We tried the popcorn on a string, but that didn't work.
But I'll probably, and to be honest with you, man, I'll probably always continue to grow personally.
Well,
I like doing it, man.
Well, that's what
And the business side of it, honestly, man, it's, I've been lucky. I've ran into some really great people that I've been able to hire. I've been able to put together really good teams of people. So I've been able to be hands off a lot of it, just be able to come in, train these people basically on different techniques and whatnot. They picked it up and whatnot. So I've just been fortunate here, man, as far as the work ethic of the people here is awesome. So, and it's not that, I love the people that work in the industry, man. It's the coolest, thing to call a job or whatever that you'd have to go to. That's what everybody says when they come in. Like, I can't believe you're paying me to come in and do this. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I know what you mean.
It's decent money. And it's decent money, too. It's way better than any fast food job or, just about any entry-level job that you have. And so, like I said, you get to learn a trade, man. It's learning how to it's a trade. There's a lot to it. A lot of people just think like, you can plant it outside and it will grow through the spring and summer and it will probably, flower for you in the fall. But being able to manipulate it and being able to fool a plant to think that it's in nature when it's inside, you're able to tell it when it wants to flower. I mean, you learn a lot how to propagate it. I bet. New plants. I mean, there's a lot to it, and you learn a lot. So, I don't know, man. It's a great industry to be in when you have the right team and stuff. It just sucks that money's involved in it, and it just always bastardizes it. And that's what I was saying about with psychedelics. You don't see that so much with psychedelics because of how it's consumed. Cannabis is consumed a lot more than psychedelics are and whatnot. So maybe the psychedelic market won't be so bastardized as cannabis to where it's so cutthroat. And that's the one thing I do miss is the tightness of the community. Now everybody, the tightness of the cannabis community, everybody now, you get everybody that's in the industry, and some of them are bad actors and some of them are weirdos, and you hear all the creeper stories and stuff where you're just like, man, I wish they'd do a background check on these people.
do a reality check and go, look, humanity is a condition that requires anesthetic. That is a quote from Freddie Mercury. I mean, truly, if you're going to be human, you need a little anesthetic. And weed, mushrooms, pick your poison. Everything depends on you and your interpretation of reality. I was on all this, medical stuff, and I found this magical little plant that smells like cotton gin, and it solves a lot of problems for me. I'm not taking methadone anymore. Pharmaceutical heroin. That was the level of pain I had, and I found this tiny little plant that was natural. Now, I'm trying to find the other one, which is, helps you expand your bounds. Nature will help you find your way if you're open to watching for it. The closed-minded, only my doctor can tell me how to live. Well, maybe that SOB isn't you. You find your own way to live. I've made mistakes, and believe me, I've drove down roads, and Brad and I have discussed this and a few times. We have done some stupid crap. That was the Thanksgiving. We just rode in the back of the truck, drinking pink champagne and going, we're going to end up in the ditch. And then we did stupid things. But when you try to find the way that actually helps you figure out what's going on, man, don't shut it down. Just accept it and let's go forward with it,
Well, hey, I got one more quick question. I want us to go off into to looking at good and evil here in just a minute, because we've already been teasing it with this. But in the business that you've been doing, did you come into it primarily from? What perspective did you come in as someone that had experience farming and growing things, or was it you had to learn all of that basics, or did you come into it from a business perspective, or what brought you, what got you to the level in the business that you're at? How'd you get there?
Oh man, I grew way before it was legal. A funny story. My mother, I have pictures of my mother standing on the corner of Haight and Ashbury in the beatnik days before the hippies. She's grown cannabis her whole life. Everybody's always had a greenhouse on the end of their house growing up. It was just kind of it was a culture. It was a tight-knit group of people, man, and that's how they
it was a lifestyle.
Money, bro.
It's how there you go. So that was one of the things I wanted to try to point out with our conversation is I understand you were in the quote Indian Nation and stuff, and we're not pointing that out, but it is a lifestyle. I didn't grow up with it, but at the same time, you may can ask Brad, but I'm going to make you ask him. But we have had the discussion that we had this devil weed, devil lettuce, whatever, we probably would not have had such an alcohol thing. Because we've discussed this, we all have some addictions, and what is better? Would you prefer the devil lettuce to the corn distillation? Whiskey to weed, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
You asking Brad or me, bro?
Either one of you. I'm just throwing it out there, brother.
I think there's something probably to be learned from both of them. I'm a big proponent of in moderation. I don't personally drink because I know I can't. I don't have issues with it as far as that. It's just not for me.
You just can't.
It's just not for me, bro. It's one of them. You know what I mean? Like I don't eat.
Thank you.
Certain things. You know what I mean? It's just something that if it's a special occasion or something like that. No problem at all. I don't have a problem. I will consume it with you. We'll have a good time and all that, but it's just not a regular thing for me. It's not for me.
Again, I think what I was trying to get across was, Brad and I both, we've had some of this about the grain alcohols and the bourbon and stuff. We tend to go that way, and I guess what I'm wondering is, I have found that the natural herb, the devil lettuce, like what we're talking about, it's actually better, even though I still sample it sometimes. And I guess in terms of a normal way to experience reality, which one would you prefer? You personally, not for anybody listening. You know, yes, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Cannabis.
There you go. Yes, yes.
By a long shot. But another
By
thing we
a
have to take into
million
effect
long
too, though,
shots.
is if we didn't have alcohol, man, we wouldn't have a lot of medicines that we have as well, because a lot of them are, you know,
You're right.
derived
Yeah,
with alcohol as well. So, like I said,
Go ahead. Sorry.
there's something to be learned from both of them, I think.
Yeah.
And just like alcohol, man, those concentrates. I meant to say this earlier. But just like with alcohol, I've seen these different generations. I'm not going to say which ones or whatever, but typically
There you
different
go. Yes,
generations.
yes.
Okay, that literally it reminds you of opium dens that you see in China when the opium dynasty.
Yes. Laying
I
around
mean, they're
chasing the dragon. Chasing
they're
the
literally
dragon.
laying
That
there
was exactly.
playing video games all day. And just bombed
Yes.
out of their mind. I mean, just literally, like, it's almost like opium to them, and you know,
It is.
it's like
The
in
opium
anything, man, in
dens.
moderation.
There you go. The opium dens called it chasing the dragons. The lotus eaters. There's you a parable. You know, the lotus eaters.
Blue lotus eaters.
Yes.
Some of the oldest is the blue lotus. Them Egyptians were enjoying that.
There you go. And the servants rebelled. The lotus eaters, you know, denied what was going on because they were so intense in their experiences, and they ignored what was happening, and the servants uprose. Yes, sir.
So, Brad,
Hey.
what is yours? What is yours?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Brad.
White
Speak
lightning
up,
or
brother.
Cannabis?
No, cannabis any day. I mean, alcohol. I mean, again, with me, like I said, I don't hate alcohol, but now I have to respect it because alcohol is it's a very potent drug. It's a drug. You can call marijuana a drug. You can call whatever a drug, but alcohol is most certainly a drug. It's a mind-altering chemical. All of it, yeah, all of it. And of course, because we've been hard on nicotine's ass, but alcohol is. We talked about this on this channel before, but in America, every year we spend about $18 billion on beef, but we spend about $192 billion on alcohol in our country. But now alcohol, like you said, it's got other uses too. You probably use it in the cannabis industry, or at least highly refined versions of it, to make highly refined versions of marijuana. I mean, so it's
yeah.
I mean, it's in vehicles. It's I mean, it's used in surgery. It is still a man, it's got its place. You just got, like you said, it is a
medicine. It's a medicine. I mean, truly, it is a medicine.
But hey, it has a duality, which is where I want to go next. Which is it has a good and an evil. I mean, of course, now I didn't even used to look at things in terms of a good and evil, but I've been around people and cases. We're not talking about the case tonight. We're off on other weeds we're stomping in, but it's very, but now I know that. But now you see, I've looked at this thing, and before I looked at true crime like I am now, and I mean, I didn't see good and evil. I didn't understand that. I don't necessarily look at it as duality. It's either one or the other. I think it's a little bit of this, and I think that over time it may change into something else. It can go either direction. But I think a lot of things are like that. I mean, it's not just black and white. There's gray, and that's the whole point, man. It's somewhere out there in between. But now here's the thing: is that I didn't understand this, but maybe you guys can help me understand it. I didn't even believe in the concept of evil for a long time. I just thought it was. I just pushed it away. I just kind of like, well, we sweep it under the rug and let's not deal with it. But where is evil? What do you guys think about evil, guys?
Well, I'll allow our guest to respond, please.
I think it's a part of everything. It's like you said, it's a duality. We wouldn't have good without the evil. The evil is there, the good is there. I mean, one of those things where it is what it is.
Dark, right?
Exactly.
I think the duality of evil is all in viewpoints. I mean, because Brad, I mean, you and I have had a discussion with somebody. Moral is not necessarily correct. I mean, the morality of the species actually is based on, well, what is a communal morality? Just imagine, all right, so let's just say we found an alien race, and they believe in no clothes and fuck everything you can stick your dick in. Kid, woman, man, whatever. Now, our morality is based on us. But if you run into an alien species and if their morality was just have sex, you can't make your judgment say, oh, well, you're fucking a 5-year-old. Well, their species as aliens, because we don't know them, that may be normal. So morality is all based on the species type thing. It's got to be based on something that we all agree on. Moral don't mean right. Brad, hey man, you have to go back to that conversation with us.
But is there evil though? I mean,
there is evil, but only by your own moral standards. That's where every evil comes from.
Okay, see, that's different. See, that's where I came from initially. But now I wonder if there isn't some kind of a negative energy out there. Now, we talked about
maybe there is.
And Kid made the comment that it seems like maybe maybe everything has like it turns to right. It's like gravity. It's a law. It's a law that goes into it that says that it's going to come back to, because it's like people have changed over time what they thought was good. What they thought was good in 1950 may not be considered good
it's
now.
not the same thing as you're absolutely right. I mean, it's one of those moral, cultural viewpoints.
But is there an evil energy out there that's always trying to win? It's always trying to insert itself. Is there something like that, or is it just, what is it?
I will say yes, then let Kid respond. But I do think there is a darker part of nature, humanity, that does make us dark.
Yeah, there's definitely.
Kid, what do you think, man?
I definitely would. When it comes to humans, it's definitely a human condition. There's definitely good and evil. That's how I see it.
Well, but now
everything in this reality is a duality. Everything is. So there's good, there's evil. Just the exact opposite.
I think there's degrees of the evil, and maybe that's where we're kind of getting that little disconnect. So let's just say you have no issue with cats sit in your lap all the time. Now I personally think I love cats. Now I do, but they are evil little serial killer little fuckers, and they'll bend you over and shove it in your ass as soon as they can. But you may just love them and just fall for it. Is that evil or good? I think that's a lot of the things that we have to decide.
I don't think that's an evil. I don't think that qualifies, though.
Well, 50 Shades of Grey. Cats are evil, okay? They're always wanting to kill you, but is that evil? There you go. It's the 50 Shades of Grey.
And it may come back. The duality may come back to the freedom of choice. Or free will, or whatever that Christians call it. I think they call it free will.
There you go.
God giving you the will to decide what you're going to do, and with humans, you have the duality. You're going to have so many that go this way and so many that go that way.
There's a concept in the Jewish faith. It's called the Yetzer Hara, and basically what the Yetzer Hara is kind of like salt in the stew. It's that little bit of rascality inside of us all. Because you think about it though, if you think about it, with any religion, whether it be Eastern or Jewish religion, with the concept I just threw out there, or with Christian religion.
There's always a little bit of salt in the
you
soup.
can't have a front. You can't have a front without a back. You can't have an inside.
You
without
can't have a light without a dark. You can't have a head
all that.
without a tail. There's meat in the middle.
But is there an energy out there? Is the universe?
There's always that. Yes, I do agree with that.
I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if it's just the way we interpret it, or if there. I mean,
the framework that we understand it under. It's the language we use. It's the
here's the
culture
biggest
we understand.
thing.
That's just how we frame it.
Thing. Yeah, well, if you're questioning, then there are doubts. There cannot be a light or dark without doubt. So if you're questioning, then you have the idea of duality. You have the choice to make it one way or the other. Now, do you want to make that fate? Well, then make it fate. That's on you. But because you question, that is the essence of individuality. You can question. I see bugs, dogs, cats. I've got one sitting here begging for food. Can you not make that choice for yourself? The ability to make a choice and accept that I am outside the norms or within the norms actually makes the difference. What do y'all think?
That's the parameters that we live under, yeah, definitely. Culture is a huge part of it.
You know, and of course it is. Of course, you know, we talked about all these religions earlier and about where people live in the country and what, you know, what is predominant there.
Taoism.
Well, I mean, yeah, and look in the United States of America. You know, I mean, there's if you go to different parts of the country, you have people that have been taught different religions. Of course, to me, I was always thinking, well, you have all these different subdivisions out there. You know, like you have the first and the second and the third and the left hand, the communication, the group, and all these different denominations inside of things. Then you have the non-denominational, and then you have all this stuff going on. So what I'm trying to say is, it doesn't seem to be one interpretation of life, even in one particular wing of it. There's so many different variations on what good and evil is. You know, but the thing of it is that I guess that I never did even interpret there being an evil, or that it was somewhere else, that it was something that, but now I did feel in some ways to be coming up in a faith some, now not a lot. I didn't, you know, we did not come from a religious family at all. But now I do have some kind of a sense out there that if I opened myself up to certain things, if I did certain things, if I, you know, maybe if I went to and entertained the thought
of something
kind of
bigger than you.
Well, no, if I entertained, like say for instance that I wanted to go look at play with a Ouija board, and I said, "Hey, dark spirit, please come talk to me," and then I said that 100 times, that I thought about it, you know, I don't know. I mean, can I call in evil to me? Can I do that? I mean, is that really a thing? Am I actually calling in a natural entity, or am I just hypnotizing myself? That's my question right there. Is it really an energy out there?
Yeah, it's more like you're hypnotizing yourself. That's how I'd see it.
Oh, my God, yes, thank you,
energy, if you waste your mental energy trying to manifest evil, or, you know, something that you would consider evil, eventually it's going to probably come true. I mean, eventually you're probably going to end up...
Oh, thank you, Ken. Thank you.
Hey, because
if you
that leads
focus on evil, hey, brother, Brad, you have said it many times. You are what you are, and
you become what you think about.
Right. I mean, it's like that. They always said that, you know, that old deal is, you know, you have the two wolves inside of you. It's just which one are you going to feed?
Yeah.
One of the coyote and one of the true roof.
Yeah. I mean, you can That's what's, and humans, our minds for some reason are made to follow or to look for patterns.
Yeah.
So maybe the duality is just an easier way for our minds to accept something that we can't understand, something that's beyond our understanding. So it's something to kind of like, calm down. This isn't something that you can understand. Look at it like this, under and maybe it's something like that. I don't know.
So let me ask you this, kid.
I'm still looking for the answers, brother.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of those. It's going to be, Brad, shut your whore mouth and listen.
No, because I have a follow-up.
No, I'm just picking, but
yes,
it is kind of like that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So what you're saying, of course, and I believe in it. I agree with most of what you're saying there, because I didn't lead down this path if I didn't believe that. But
yes.
Do you think that's something, the philosophy that you and I both are talking about, and all of us are talking about, excuse me, is it something that you're taught as being the Native American background, or is it just
environmental thing?
No, well, all of it. This whole thing of he has, whether you want to admit it or not, he has exhibited a very specific cultural worldview.
Environmental.
Is that?
I assumed everybody kind of. I thought that just came. I thought everybody had that understanding.
I do too, but do you think that it came from a Native American background, or do you think it's? I mean, it doesn't sound like what I would consider every culture. What do you think? I mean, is American thought is that something that the Native Americans brought to us, or is that something that's somewhere else? Or do you know?
Yeah, it probably isn't a part of the Western worldview as far as that goes. It'd be considered more eccentric to them, I would assume. But yeah, I can see what you're saying as far as that. Now that you put it like that, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, it could be, man. Like, I grew up poor, real close to the earth. That we farmed every year, and so maybe that's a part of it too. That socio-economic class too. I don't know.
Dude,
yeah,
I mean, they just tell you from an early age, and you know it as a kid, man. You know it. Everybody, I just assumed everybody understood it and knew it, that, hey, you dwell on doing bad stuff and you keep doing, you're going to manifest evil. Just like if you go out whistling you go out whistling at night, and, you're going to manifest bad stuff. I mean, there's this, and through different, cultural things like that, I can see that being part of it, bro. I can see that.
You're letting you know you're there. I mean, the Alan Watts always, in his philosophy, which is he's a guy from England, but he studied Eastern thought. One of the things he always said was that you can't let the bear know what you're doing. You can't. You can't even.
No.
The bear inside of you.
That goes back to Sun Tzu. Strike where the enemy is weak and make they think they're strong. There's so many things with me. I'm listening. The Eastern philosophy of exactly everything y'all said, me.
Well, there's that. So I guess that we all have that figured out,
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if we have it figured out. I just think we just keep accepting that it's a duality and then leaving it alone because it's just I think it's so complicated that, our minds just have to put it into a pattern that we understand, or we'd be consumed with it.
Oh, thank you. Because, y'all been talking asshole Martian BS for like 20 minutes, okay?
Hey, I'm at a point where I'm looking at spirituality. I'm in my 50s, and so I'm looking
thank
out
you.
There. So I'm
looking
looking out there on the skate. I'm out there looking on the skate, trying to keep my mind. I've got lots of strains, man. I'm trying to keep my mind limber,
Can you touch your toes?
Oh, yeah, man.
Can you touch your toes?
Yes.
Well, I go and tell you, my son cannot touch his toes. He came in here, we did this stuff, and then they went, oh, I'm trying to touch my toes. And I can, like, curl my fingers under my toes. It's the difference in the time span. You know, I see our things as more organic. And when you move to the time spans or children, it's more digital, ones and zeros. We got to find that gray scale again. You got to find that 256 shades of gray, not 50. There's
Like
actually,
you said, living closer to the earth, I think probably all of us did. I don't know that kids now do that. And,
they do not, and that is horrible. You know, but
I mean, they've done
I
they've
sent
done
you
all kinds of
pictures of,
studies.
I have, you know, my grandkids were down here. I cut up construction paper. We made construction paper chains. Yeah, you know, popcorn strings. We're losing that. Oh my God. I had to work so hard to have that happen.
Yeah. They've done numerous studies where language alone dictates the intelligence of your communities. They've looked and they've studied it, just simple alone language. How many words do you have for this one color? The different shades of it. And literally
and
they can tell. They've studied
color.
It to where language alone. So yeah, I mean there's a lot of factors that play into it as far as that.
And
now you see kids nowadays where they're using these short form pictograms.
Yeah.
You're right.
They're not even using words, bro. They're using
pictures.
pictures.
Match my red? Yes. I'm sorry, man. I can't talk about
and there's cultures that you say blue. There's cultures that you say blue, and they bring you something that's turquoise, and you're like, no, that's turquoise.
And that is blue to them. It's the acceptance of your reality is not my reality. Yeah.
Well, I think the language thing though is huge because that kind of puts you in a very specific place. If in my mind, even still, when I send a text message, it's a whole word. I don't use PLS. I don't use, you know, all that kind of stuff because to me, it's more. I think it's more an immersive type experience. I don't know. I wonder.
It really is.
You hear people talking about like with video games and stuff, and I quit playing video games at Atari 2600. I saw Pac-Man and Combat, and I was like, well, this is dumb. So I just
Space Invader champion, bro.
Yeah, I got you.
You better bring a half ounce.
Yeah, you better bring a half ounce.
You guys would give me really high to try to beat my high score. No doubt. But yeah, you're right, man. And that's what I see a lot too. Is that you see a lot of nobody knows how to even write in cursive.
Yeah. Oh Jesus!
I mean, they look at cursive like you're writing in a alien transcript. You know, like what's that? Like, oh, that looks cool.
Like, what the fuck are you writing? Did that say Jacob in block script?
But yeah, I see that with the kids coming up, man, and yeah, it's kind of worrisome as far as, you know, looking back at those studies and just seeing how language alone, and then you see, you know, I think in the 90s they started the Ebonics, or maybe it came out in the 80s or something.
Oh, God.
And that was kind of like, wait a minute, man, we can't accept, you know, you can't accept, you know, you can't accept the lower form. You're lowering the bar. You keep lowering the bar, and then now we're literally, you know, you can text your boss a picture of a sick smiley face with a thermometer in it, you know, and some other shit. And that means that you're not coming in because you're sick.
Yeah, and that's not even down that, you know, the sick Ebonics BS. That's just, come on, dude. Own up and be a man.
I'm just saying,
if you don't go to work,
I didn't do the
just call
studies on
again
language.
and say, I'm not coming to work today. Yes, sir, it's the language. Thank you
But
so
see,
very
and
much.
the language is the technology has dictated the language, and the language is dictating the culture. By making that acceptable to call into work. So it's all like you said, it's a circle of life, buddy. A weem away, a weem away.
We got like the
In the
warthog and
States.
whatever and a lion. Hey, I was talking to my kid today, and we were talking about Hercules. Now, the first time we watched Hercules, those two little demons running around in the yard going, "Someone call ISI." So can any of y'all tell me what that means?
Meow.
Hey,
You had two cats running around in your yard. They get stuck in the tree.
If they say call ISI, what would you think they meant?
You got me.
yeah, I never heard of that one.
I never heard of that one.
ISI 911.
Somebody probably needs
Roman
to call his
numerals.
mom.
That was in Hercules with the Disney thing way back. They just made this comment. I was in the thing with my kids and said, "Someone call ISI." And I said, and I died laughing. That's 911 and Roman numerals.
Hey, I want to go into something else real quick. I think it's important. But this is going to be the most challenging thing that we'll do, I think. Because this is talking about the relationship. We talked about all these other relationships, the man and environment, man and drugs, and man and alcohol and all that stuff. But what about man and woman now? Where is that at?
Part of the duality
Yeah.
that we were just talking about. It's the opposite of man is woman, and the opposite of woman is man.
Well,
Go ahead,
That's how
Brad.
I think it is. It's the yin and the yang. I'm not saying that one's all good and one's all bad, but there's different aspects in men that are good, and there's different aspects in women that are good, and there's bad in both. And it's once they come together, it's the complete yin and the yang. It's the duality. It's the completeness of how it was supposed to be. That's how procreation. That's how I see it. Me personally.
I agree with that. But now, where is the nature of men and women, particularly in the United States of America today, the relationship they have together? In other words, where are men and women different than they were together? Is that bond that you're talking about different than it was 40 years ago? Is it better? Is it worse? Is it just this circle? I mean, what is it? Where is it at? I mean, there's a lot of people that are upset about where men and women are. We're looking at the child birth rate in the United States of America is way down. You look at, divorces are obviously seem like they're up, but it's in some groups, some age groups, some not. You have these, the Me Too and the extremist incels that we've talked about, the bridge guy in Delphi might be. But what is it? Is it healthy? Is the relationship men and women having now healthy, or is it any different than it ever was? Is it the same? What do you guys think?
No.
I can only speak for myself on this.
Yeah,
I can only speak for myself on this. As far as that is, you start with the man in the mirror. I don't worry a lot about if somebody else's relationship, two dudes, two chicks, whatever they got going on or whatever. I mean, I could care less what other people do as far as that. You know what I mean? If that's what you're alluding to, but you see a lot of them that are unhappy and stuff, and I just it is what it is. You got your free will to go do whatever you want to do, man.
Well, I'll go ahead, put my point out, and if Brad don't agree with it, I mean, he can adjust it, but everybody is free to love how they want to love. If you don't want to, then don't. If you can find that right person, then do it. Now, Brad, I know he has found his handler, and, you know, me personally, I have found my handler. Of course, it's not public and all that kind of stuff, but if you find that one person, should you stick with it? Should you keep hunting? Because in today's time, because of COVID and all that kind of stuff, I mean, you know, I guess it's one of those things that there's so much of this missing connections. Look at the toxicity of the young men in the world, you know, our sons or grandsons. They don't know how to ask a chick out. They know how to go, I want you to suck me my dick or whatever they send dick pic. Where's the art of the actual conversation? Do you think that they'll come back? Hello?
No, I don't think it'll. I mean, every generation's different, you know. Just like you know, how our fathers put down the Mac was a lot different than how we put down the Mac. You know, with technology and stuff, you see a lot more people. Like I know a lot more people that met online and married, and of course I'm married to my girlfriend from high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how people meet people online and do it, but man, apparently they do it and they're happy and stuff. So good for them.
Well, yeah, and you're right. Well, I'm going to tell you about me. All right, so you know, I worked.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't understand this younger generation
I don't
as
get
far
it
as
either.
how they, you know, like you said, they, you know, instead of, you know, they communicate on their phone instead of in person. You know, you think there'd be a tighter connection. Like, nah, like I have a nephew, the same, you know, and I'm trying to tell him, like, nah, this is how you spit, you know, this is how we used to spit game and do this, and you know what I mean? And yeah, he does a couple of the pointers I tell him. He comes back, he's like, oh yeah, you won't believe, da, da, da. You know, it's like, no shit, show her some attention, you dumbass. Yeah, no, you're on your fucking phone at dinner. You know what I mean? You're on your phone at dinner and she's wanting to talk to you. You got to fucking show her attention. Oh, you know, it's like they don't even think about the simplest shit.
I'm so sorry to be laughing at you, but that's fucking funny. Yes, that is what we're trying to talk about.
I've taken them places, and they were texting each other in the fucking car, bro. Like, how? Okay. What the fuck is going on here, man?
Thank you so very much. Yes, sir. You actually answered that question.
Now that I don't understand. That's what I was trying to explain to him. Like, no, and maybe, you know, like you said, it's a generational thing, just like the music they listen to. It truly is a
generational thing. Yes. You know, Brad and I have talked about Gen X, Gen Z. Brad and I were born in a very weird area. You know, in the terms of we had party lines and we waited at bus stops. We played all night. You know, there's so many of those generational changes. So I am so glad to hear from somebody who actually sees it. Oh, y'all
a lot of that generational. And I think a lot of that generational difference too, like you're talking about the older generation. I think just the family was more structured. So even if it was, say, 2 women, even if it was allowed back in the 50s, if that was allowed, even the household then would be more structured than it is now, just because of the mentality of society at that time. It was a lot different than it is now. I mean, it's way different now.
It truly is.
And
okay,
think,
Brad. I keep waiting for Brad to get back in. Come on,
Brad. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. My kids are being raised up with a man and a woman inside of a home, or 2 people, 2 parents, and we both have different roles in the relationship. But, you know, and a lot of kids that we come across at school, I mean, they're raised by, like, either a single dad, which is a lot more common than it used to be, or a single mom, or grandparents. In fact, I think that the majority of kids in our school here that we come across, they're raised by grandparents. You know, a lot of times they either the children or, you know, the people in their 30s, wherever they're dead, they're in jail. They're not just they're not
dead or in jail. Jeez, that's a string.
mean, that's serious.
I'm sorry. I'm making
I
fun
can
of
tell
something
you,
that shouldn't be.
I can tell you 7 or 10 people right now, people that I've talked to, that that's their exact situation. I'm like, of course, I'm an older parent, but a lot of them are about 7 or 8, 9 years older than me, and I'm like going, well, what do you do with a kid this young? And you're like, man, I'm raising my kids. They all messing around. They getting too high. They're drunk or they're dead. That's what I hear.
Yeah, there's a huge opium epidemic going on, and I don't know how it sounds kind of crude and kind of blunt, but it kind of goes back to if you don't raise your kids right, you're going to be raising your grandkids.
Well, and that's the truth. I mean, that's kind of where I was going. I know there's a age differential between you, I, and Brad in our discussion and where it's at. I mean, believe me, I've got this big piece of pussy just jumping in my lap, but it's a cat. But some of these things are different for all of us. I mean, Brad's worried about his thing. You've got your thing. I've got my thing. But it's interesting to discuss it. So, which one of y'all are at what point?
Okay. Well, I tell you this.
Because y'all thinking, you both seem be competing for the best, worst place. Who wins?
No,
we all lose. There you go. I'm sorry. I made that as a funny, but I shouldn't have.
Oh man, you good. So, but here's the deal though. It's like, that makes me. That's the point of the question. Kind of going back, and I'm glad it.
Thank you.
I initially, in every conversation, I try to keep it vague because I want to see where people's mind goes. And both of y'all went initially to the point of, just looking at yourself, and I like that. There's some concern out there. I guess the question I was trying to get to is that, which we eventually got around to, was the relationship of men and women as they are now, and it's really weird in some cases with younger people. I think that with certain generations, it may be different kinds of things. Of course, you get older and things change. You look at relationships. I need, the kind of relationship I need now is not the kind of relationship I needed at 22. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no. Brad, you have the minder you need. Just saying. Please continue.
But, there's other things out there. Of course, we kind of focus on, deeper stuff here, man. This is deep because I like to wade in and out of it. One minute I'll be talking about football, and the next thing I'll be talking about some deep philosophical thing, and then, some true crime, and just the things that interest me. It's always nice to get other people's opinions on it. You kind of dig it out there and see what other people are thinking. I mean, I think it's important because we, right now, in my opinion, we all listen to a lot of very standardized news sources, and they're telling us the same thing. But in reality, we're looking at something totally different when we start evaluating how we're living every day. And, and that's the kind of the things that I would at. I like to throw out some blanket theory of, like, duality of good and evil and just kind of see where people go and what it means and, how it affects how we view the world and stuff. So, anyway, that's all I was trying to do with that.
It's always good to
so
keep
what
the can
are the
around,
next topics?
figure out.
Sorry. So what
is
is one talking about?
Kid?
Sorry, I took a big hit. I'm trying to not cough. Hey, brother.
As they say, you don't climb, you don't get off.
So what is our next conversation? We have actually, beat that horse to death and ate a dead sandwich on it. How y'all tonight? It looks fine.
Hey, man, I tell you what else, though. I agree with that, man. This time here, apparently, I got into a little indica or something, man. I'm just deep as shit, man. I'm sitting here staring at the wall going, man, I want to this.
Dude,
So, guys, but I'm curious. I want to know about two things. One is just real quick. I want to know about internet speeds, and number two, I want to know about music. I think that, to me, music always seems to be such a great thing, man. It's like it's something that you can get a lot of insight into somebody about their music or what they believe in or what they carry with them and what they listen to. So what about internet speeds up there, kid? What y'all looking at up there? And tell me about your musical situation.
I got fiber to the house, internet. I don't know what the fucking, I think it's a gig or some shit. Music, all music. Probably the only thing I don't listen to, man, is pop country. I get into like the old fucking country. I'm starting to get into that shit more, and I've had some relatives as well that semi-famous fucking did country and shit. So I've always steered away from it. So I came up to like punk, and then from punk went to hip hop, going to punk shows, and then staying over for the hip hop shows. Rock. I fucking listen to it all, man, except pop country. I just can't stand that shit.
Kind of annoying, that's for sure.
The gospel. I even love gospel music, bro. Johnny Cash gospel is probably the best gospel music ever, though. But
yeah, man.
Bro, I tell you what. Yeah, like Johnny Cash, some of that stuff, that ain't gospel. What at the same time, it's spiritual. I think that's one of them things. I'm sorry. I've been hacking my lung out, and I've had to mute it for the last couple of times. Spiritual is like Johnny Cash. I mean, he's got the spirit of I walk the line. But then you got the ones that are like, oh yeah, you're gonna be I'm the rebel. I think that's a lot of what we listen to because I listen to country. I listen to, oh geez, there's some of those that you walked in my house, I put my shotgun in your mouth. There's hip hop, hip hop, and there's hickabilly, which is more Hank Jr. You know, the country boy can survive, I promise you. Everything in line, oh, I know how to hide the body. I know how to fix the trot line, and you know, yeah, so there are those levels of it. Sorry, y'all go ahead. Jeez, I got to pick and whatever. Jeez.
I get all of that, and I like the Johnny Cash that he did one of those last couple of albums there were just amazing. That God's gonna cut you down. But now I've noticed in the past few years I listen to amazingly the difference in what I like is kind of a bluegrassy type stuff, but newer versions of it.
Strange.
Well, it's like the Devil Makes Three, and there is some Texas country that's mixed in with folk stuff that I like, and but I also like disco. I fucking love the late 70s music, and that goes back to Grease. You know, we were talking about a little bit ago before we got you online, but you know, a lot of that disco music, the Rolling Stones, the Some Girls album, Emotional Rescue, that kind of stuff mixed in with a kind of the I guess it's the harder. It's like the mix, that line. You know, you guys were talking about the mix between hip hop and punk rock, and I do love both of those. But there's a mix. I think that's what I see now is that there's not just distinctions. It's kind of like all the people of the world were once just white and black and brown and yellow. But now everybody has come together in America, and that shit is everywhere. I mean, you know, there's all kinds of music to listen to. There's jazz, which is a culmination and the adding together of, the blues, which is this and that and the other, and then now it's all mixed up all together. And I mean, it's a good time, but nobody really listens to that. Most people are listening to what Kid was talking about there, that god awful pop country, which is basically Jesus. It's the most horrible songwriting. To me, I don't know. I've tried to listen to some of it, but I just can't do it. I can listen to Cody Jinks, Texas country, but I can't listen to, you know, Kanye or Kane, whatever his name is, and Florida State Line or whatever the hell that shit is.
Yeah, I don't listen to any of that. I don't even know who you're talking about, but yeah, that's that pop country, man. As soon as you think you're being put in a trance, it seems like it's like, whoa, turn this shit off. It's just the weirdest music. It doesn't sound, like you said, it doesn't sound good. There's no substance to it. They're not telling a story. Typically, it's, just some random getting drunk, or, it's just, I don't know. I prefer those country songs, or any song, to have a meaning to it, maybe explaining something or telling you a story that would help explain something to you, or, something a little more meaningful than, here's my bitch, here's my car,
Yeah.
here's my gun, fuck you, I'm going to kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, here's my bitch. Here's what I
and that
see
pop
it.
country's the same thing,
Shut
though,
your
because,
ass up.
instead of Impala on 20s, they have a jacked up pickup. You know what I mean? It's the same shit with that pop country, and it just oozes fakeness. You just look at it and you go, mind you, like Spinal Tap almost, bro. Like, I bet you last year you were doing fucking, you know what I mean? I bet you last year you were doing the jazz festival. You know what I mean? You could just, I don't know, man. I've been to so many music shows, so you just feel sorry for the person. Like, damn, this motherfucker's having a, you know what I mean? He's not staying true to himself. Still, that's not his style.
Yes, absolutely. Finger throw all the way.
Yeah, and that's what makes it even that much